Hello everyone, it's David again, Season 3 Episode 17 War Without End Part 2. Sadly, the last time we will be seeing Michael O'Hare in any major role. He passed away, I believe in 2004, from a heart attack at the age of 60. Might be wrong since I don't have access to the internet, but sadly he passed at a very young age. My dad passed away at 60. From a heart attack. His was brought about by cigarette smoke and drinking when he was much, much younger. He quit all that when I was about 2 years old after he had his first major heart attack. And the doctor said that's why he survived another 17 years. That and he lost about 70 pounds. So anyway, we zop on in and questions. Why doesn't Valen SInclair send a letter or vid to Sheridan telling him how to defeat the shadow ships? You know, he's running around and he's back, 1,000 years in the past. Why not send a letter? He's got a letter to himself, a letter to Delenn. Why not send a letter to Sheridan and say, hey Sheridan, this is Commander SInclair, 900 years in the past. Here's how you defeat the shadows. You put a telepath on board your ship, you block their central processing unit, and you pound them with your main gun. Would have saved several thousand lives at the very least in the military of, like, the Brachiri, for instance. But anyway, what would have happened if the Shadows defeated Babylon 5? Would they have gone on and turned their eye on Centauri Prime, or on the humans? Or finished wiping out the other races and just left the Centauri and the humans alone to duke it out? So put your thoughts down below. What would have happened if B5 would have been lost in this time continuum? Sheridan is 17 years in the future on Centauri Prime. Why not tell Londo about the future? Does Londo's death dream, absolve him of that responsibility? Say, hey Londo, just want to let you know, these people are going to put this creature on your shoulder. Because he learns about, I'll get to that in just a minute here. Anyway, we cue the entrance. Delenn is warning Sheridan, do not go to Zahadum. Delenn tells Sheridan their son is safe. She says the war's never completely won. There are always new battles to be fought against the darkness. So why not drop a hint about the Drakh? Say, hey, after you beat up the shadows, there's this species called the Drakh that are going to be heading towards Centauri Prime. Duh. And oh, by the way, this is how you beat the shadow vessels, because he still does not know how to defeat the shadow. He's got ideas, but he doesn't know. Why not just tell him? But you always have time to make these big love speeches, but you don't have time to tell him the really good stuff. At least SInclair tried to warn Garibaldi, hey, watch your back, meaning your second in command's about to shoot you in the back. But he was out of range. Oh well, such is luck. If you were Delenn, what would you tell Sheridan? Zip on in. We all have our keepers. You see, Londo shows Delenn and Sheridan his keeper. So they know what's coming up. Why not tell Londo? Jakar comes out from behind the curtains and chokes Londo when his keeper wakes up and they end up killing each other. Veer then picks up the Emperor's neck chain, and then I believe Veer takes now the responsibility of driving the Drakh off of Centauri Prime. So does that kind of absolve Sheridan of ultimate responsibility? Because he knew Veer was going to take care of it all along? Maybe. Question to myself, is Londo an alcoholic? Duh. How big is Babylon 4 for them not to be seen? I know it'd have to be, 4 or 5 miles long, like the Babylon 5 station. Not quite as big, if I remember my stats correctly. Zathras needs a dentist. Good Lord, my God, my dentist would die. My dentist is already having a fit, and I need about 10 to 15 grand worth of dental work. He would take one look at Zathras and say, oh my God. Reminds me, one of the nurses I worked with, Linda, she and her husband both had major dental work done. And their doctor bragged he was going to buy a truck with all the money he was going to get from doing their dental work. And sure enough, about 2 years later, she walked in, and right in front of the dentist office was a brand new red Dodge Ram. And the dentist came running out. See what you got me? See what you got me? Anyway, Zathras, he'd get a whole mansion with the swimming pool. Sinclair wrote a letter from 900 years ago, and the aging effect would kill him if he tried to stay in the present with the tachyon beams and stuff. So, we learned that Zathras is the oldest living caretaker of the Great Machine, and he knows things even Drall doesn't know yet. So, he's 110 years old, so we know members of his species can live to be about 110. And that the Great Machine is about 500 years old. Zathras says, when he's talking to, making the decision on who gets to go back with the Babylon 4, you are the one who was, points to Sinclair. You are the one who is, points to Delennon. You are the one who will be, points to Sheridan. It said, what about after Sheridan? Isn't it David, their son, who takes over, if memory serves? And Zathras' place is with the one who was. The temporal rift closes forever, so don't have to worry about Sector 14 anymore. I guess you can go take the shortcut to B5 now. And, of course, Marcus, ever the smart one, says, a Minbari not born of Minbari. Good God, and he realizes what that actually means. Now, imagine if you found out that your neighbor or your friend was the next Buddha, or the next Jesus of Nazareth, or the next Valen of Minbari. I mean, wouldn't that freak you out to find out something like that? Or your cousin, or your brother? I was like, damn, I always knew you had connections. I didn't know you ran that high. Ooh. Sinclair recreates the Chrysalis, and we zip on in. An old Minbari warcruiser approaches Babylon 4 Babylon 4 is flanked by 2 Vorlon ships. Sinclair introduces himself as Valen, and he's got the bone set going on. And he's flanked by 2 Vorlon/Minbari angels, so that they would get the message. You can't, destroy this guy. Now, if memory serves, they find out later that he is human, and it causes him trouble, and him and his wife and his family are exiled to a moon on Minbar, and then they quietly sneak their way back in to see the population, kind of like, what's his name, Kublai Khan, one of the Khans of Mongolia, ended up, they say now like 2% of the whole planet is directly related to this guy, because he had so many wives and concubines that he just out there making the babies, being the baby daddy. So at any rate, extremely important for the rest of the Babylon 5 story mini arc to be set up. If you have any ideas or any comments, as always, like, comment, subscribe down below, and share. And I hope you all have a good rest of your winter season.